Revealed, how I turned my mom's shocking request into an amazing life-changing journey. Jake's world spun the moment he heard his mother's trembling voice on the other end of the line. "I need you to listen to me, honey," she said. Those words had a heaviness, a weight that pulled him back from the clattering chaos of the mechanic shop. Motor oil and fresh-cut grass faded into the background as his heart pounded, fearing the words that would follow. She was sick, and the diagnosis left no room for hope. But it wasn't just her health that rattled him, it was her astonishing wish. "I want you to chase your music dream, Jake," she whispered. It felt like a bolt of lightning piercing through the familiar routine of oil changes and engine repairs that had anchored him for years. Those dreams he'd tucked away in the darkest corners of his mind suddenly burst forth, wild and untamed. He was a mechanic, plain and simple. His day-to-day life consisted of shifts filled with grease-stained hands, the rhythmic hum of engines, and the comforting clatter of tools. But the unearthed dream one he had let die flickered like a dying flame, just waiting for a breath of air. How could he abandon the job that secured his mom's hospital bills, the job so deeply rooted in his identity? In a small Midwestern town nestled between cornfields, dreams often fell victim to responsibilities. Jake felt the town's pulse, the very air filled with whispers of tradition and muted aspirations. Friends rallied around him, their encouragement lighting a path, yet their skepticism gnawed at his gut. "You really want to perform? In this town?" they asked, doubts leaking into their voices like oil on concrete, fueled by mixed emotions. Jake ventured into the world of live music, but his first attempts were met with empty chairs and awkward silences. He stepped onto that hollow stage at the local bar, a familiar haunt, but left with a crushed spirit, reminded of childhood friends whose talents never saw the light of day. Yet, amid that disappointment, something stirred inside him. He felt a spark. A gift for songwriting flickered, igniting words that flowed like water, lyrics about financial struggles, veterans wrestling with their pasts, and families like his own. Each line became a lifeline, connecting him to the community he loved. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen." Now let's continue. As the annual community festival approached, excitement mingled with fear. The weight of expectations bore down on him. This performance mattered. The night arrived, and as Jake stepped onto the stage, the energy in the crowd surged. Voices full of broken dreams and suppressed hopes rose around him. Jake poured his heart out, his songs resonating deep within the souls of neighbors, illuminating their struggles. Then, like the flicker of fireworks in the night sky, a local music label approached him afterward. Fame dangled before him like a carrot, but just as he began dreaming of this brighter future, the phone rang. It was the hospital. His mother's condition had worsened overnight. His heart sank. Torn between a life of newfound hope and promises made to his ailing mother, he stood at a crossroad, the path before him twisted by love, dreams, and the relentless push of obligation. Would he honor her wish, or cling to the familiar security of his grease-stained world? As uncertainty loomed, Jake realized that sometimes, the hardest choice carved out the way to the brightest dreams. Jake gripped the phone tightly and closed his eyes, willing time to pause. His mother's condition had been deteriorating for weeks, but this felt like a punch to the gut. He could see her in his mind, the frail frame of his once vibrant mother, who had always been his greatest supporter. "Hang on, Mom," he whispered, feeling the weight of each word. The decision loomed over him: should he rush to her side, or seize the moment that could change everything? He could hear the muffled chatter in the background. The faint sound of upbeat music filtering in from the festival tent reminded him of the life he had just begun to embrace. But that world felt light years away now. He wanted so desperately to be with her, to stroke her hair and tell her she was going to be okay. Yet, he also felt his dreams slipping through his fingers, like sand from the hourglass. Jake took a deep breath, steeling himself. "I'll be right there," he finally said, forcing strength into his voice. He hung up, unable to shake the feeling that every moment spent away from her was a moment wasted. He grabbed his jacket, his heart heavy as he walked out of the shop, past the dusty yellow toolboxes and into the crisp, cool air of the evening. Driving to the hospital felt surreal. The familiar road blurred past him, illuminated by the glow of streetlights. He wrestled with his thoughts. Every song he had written echoed in his mind, the lyrics tangling with his worries. What if his mother never got to see him live his dream? What if this was it? When he finally arrived and found her room, he pushed the door open with a mix of hope and dread. There she was, lying in the hospital bed, frail and fragile, the sound of the heart monitor beeping steadily next to her. He rushed to her side, taking her hand in his. "Mom." Her eyes fluttered open, a soft smile breaking through the pain etched on her face. "Jake," she whispered, her voice weak but filled with warmth. "You came." "Of course, I did," he said, swallowing hard against the lump in his throat. "I wouldn't be anywhere else." He sat on the edge of the bed, squeezing her hand gently. "How are you feeling today?" "You know me," she said, trying to lighten the moment, though her eyes betrayed her. "Just taking it one day at a time." They talked for hours, reminiscing about the past, sharing dreams. With each story, a piece of laughter rose between them, fueled by shared memories. Then, as they drifted into a comfortable silence, she took a deep breath, fixing him with a steady gaze. "Promise me something even if things get tough, keep going after your music. You have a gift, Jake. Don't waste it." "I promise, Mom," he replied, his heart aching at the thought. But as he spoke, a flicker of determination ignited in him. A tiny ember, slowly gaining strength. With her words echoing in his mind, Jake felt an urge deep within to fight for both of their dreams. He would honor her wish. But that meant diving deeper into a world that filled him with fear. If he took this leap, could he find a way to balance it all? The next morning brought clarity, but it also meant he would have to face the music industry head-on, the unknown that filled him with excitement and dread. Could he truly step into this arena knowing that the love for his mother and the call of his heart would both demand everything from him? As Jake prepared to make that call to the music label, he felt an electric rush of uncertainty. Was this the moment everything changed for him, or would he lose it all? Would he have the courage to pursue both his dream and his commitment to his mother? In that instant of anticipation, he realized that the craziest journeys often begin with a single, brave step. Jake's heart raced as he paced his small apartment, phone in hand. The morning light streamed through the window, casting a warm glow on the empty coffee cups scattered about, a stark contrast to the turmoil swirling within him. He thought of his mother, lying in that hospital bed, her frail body a reminder of both mortality and the fierce love that had always fueled him. He inhaled deeply, the weight of that love heavy yet grounding. Dialing the music label's number felt surreal, each ring echoing his mounting anxiety. What would they say? Would they recognize the fire in his songs? Or would it all come crashing down around him like a bad dream? As the line connected, a polished voice greeted him from the other end. "Hi, this is Jenna from Sky Wave Records. How can I help you today?" Jake's throat tightened. Hey. This is Jake Carson. I'm calling about my demo." "Of course. I've heard great things about your work. What do you want to discuss?" Her enthusiasm should have ignited excitement within him, but all he felt was a sudden rush of doubt. I want to know if you'd be interested in signing me. Why don't you start with a bit about your music? What inspires you?" He hesitated, the voice of his mother echoing in his mind. "Well, my mom is really my main inspiration. She's been sick recently, and I want to make her proud. Music is our connection, our bond." "Your mom?" Jenna's tone softened. "That's beautiful, Jake. I understand how personal it can be. Do you have any songs that specifically reflect that?" Jake closed his eyes, a wave of vulnerability washing over him. "Yeah, there's one called Back to You. It's about those moments we take for granted, how we should cherish every second because we never know what tomorrow brings." Sounds like a powerful piece. I'd love to hear it, Jenna said, her enthusiasm rekindling something inside him. As they discussed his style further, Jake's nerves began to fade. He found himself sharing stories, his mother's laughter at kitchen dance parties, their late-night sessions of song critique, how she always believed in him, even when he didn't. Jake, this is compelling stuff, Jenna said after a pause. Have you performed live before? The walls seemed to close in around him. Performing live was uncharted territory. Not really. I've mostly just played at home, you know. For my mom. It's safer that way. Nothing ventured, nothing gained, right? Her laughter was gentle yet encouraging, and it sparked a flicker of bravery. Yeah, I guess so. Here's the deal, she said. I want you to come in. We'll set up a showcase where you can perform a couple of your songs. Show us what you've got, and let us help push you into the spotlight. His heart thudded in his chest. You really mean that? Absolutely. Just remember, you have to put yourself out there. For your mom and for you. Jake hung up, breathless. The opportunity hung like a lighthouse beacon, illuminating the path ahead. He had a chance to honor his mother's dreams and his own, but fear still nipped at his heels. What if he crashed and burned? What if it all collapsed before he had a chance to soar? As he replayed the conversation in his head, he felt a blend of excitement and trepidation. The very thought of stepping foot on that stage made his stomach flip, but maybe just maybe this was more than just a call. It was a door opening, a chance to redefine everything. With renewed determination, Jake grabbed his guitar, fingers aching to strum the strings once more. He penned a new verse, something raw and real, a reflection of his journey. And in the depths of his creativity, he felt a pull toward the hospital. His mom needed to be part of this. He had to share his next steps with her, find her strength in those moments. As he imagined her reaction, he resolved if he was to fight for his dream, he needed to lean on her as much as she had always leaned on him. He rushed to his phone again, ready to fill her in on this new chapter. But as he dialed, doubt whispered once more. What if sharing his aspirations only hurt her more? Would it crush her? With uncertainty hanging in the air, Jake steeled himself once more. He had already made a promise. What if she held the key to unlock the courage he needed to take the stage? Jake's finger hovered over the screen, hesitating as he considered his next move. The hospital room felt a million miles away, yet it was all he could think about. Would she be excited to hear about the showcase? Or would it bring back too much pain and sorrow? He could picture her, lying there, her eyes lighting up like they did when he strummed his guitar at her bedside. Wasn't that worth chasing his dreams for? He pressed call. Hello? Her voice cracked, sounding both exhausted and hopeful, a mix that always tugged at his heart. Hey, Mom, he said, his voice soft. It's me. Jake. How are you, darling? Her joy was palpable, the familiar warmth drawing him closer, even through the phone. How's the music? I have something big to share with you. His heart raced again. Skywave Records wants me to perform at a showcase. Pause. Silence that felt like it lasted an eternity. Jake, that's incredible. Her voice finally broke through, infused with pride. Oh, I knew you had it in you. Just like I always said. His heart lifted, grateful for her unwavering support. Thanks, Mom. But, I was wondering, what would you think about me doing this? I mean, what if you don't want to hear about my dreams right now? She sighed softly, and he imagined her attempting to sit up a bit straighter, determination shining through the weariness. Honey, I may be weak, but that doesn't mean I can't dream vicariously through you. This is wonderful news. You deserve this. With every word, he felt her love wrap around him like a protective shield. It was what he needed, someone to believe when he didn't even believe in himself. I want to do it for you, he confessed, emotions rushing in. I've got so many songs, so many stories to tell, and I want you to be there when it happens. Will you let me perform for you once I get to the showcase? Of course. I can't wait to hear every note, Jakey, she responded, her voice breaking, but with a sense of joy that made his heart swell. Just promise me one thing, anything, Mom. Promise me you won't let fear hold you back. You owe it to yourself and to the music. Tears formed in his eyes. I promise, he whispered. They spent the next half hour talking through the details, him sharing the excitement bubbling in his heart, her laughter filling the small space within his mind. Every word of encouragement felt like a beam of light cutting through the shadows of doubt. After they hung up, Jake plopped onto his couch, guitar resting on his knees. He was filled with a new sense of purpose, a flame reignited. He picked up the strings slowly, the quiet strumming matching the rhythm of his heartbeat. But as he wrote, the familiar fear crept back in. Performing live was a fire he had never touched. Would he freeze up on stage? What if he forgot the lyrics or stumbled over his notes? The questions weighed on him, an avalanche of insecurities. Then he remembered his mother's voice. Just like I always said. Those words rang in his ears, igniting a flicker of determination. With renewed focus, he reached for his notebook. This showcase would be for both of them. His mother's strength poured into every lyric, every note. It had to be perfect. Realizing that he needed more than just practices in his apartment, a new idea struck him. What if he asked a couple of friends to help him prepare? He could perform for them first, take the stage in the safety of their support. As he made lists of potential friends to invite, another wave of doubt hit him, this time more profound. What if they didn't like the songs? What if they laughed nervously or expressed pity? But the image of his mother's pride pushed him on. She believed in him, and maybe, just maybe, that joy could translate to others, too. Just as he was finishing the last few lines of his notebook, the phone buzzed in his pocket. He fished it out to see a message from Wyatt, his best friend since childhood. Hey man, wanna jam this weekend? I've got some new songs too. A grin spread across his face. Maybe this was the push he needed. A chance to practice and feel the thrill of performing, even if it was just for friends to start. As he tapped a response, another thought flashed through his mind. What if this journey led him to something he simply couldn't foresee? What opportunities lay ahead if he took that leap? With the ink still drying on pages of promise, excitement danced in his chest. But lurking beneath was the biggest question of all: would those around him truly understand what this dream meant, not just for him, but for his mom too? Jake felt a chill run down his spine. The closer he got to his performance, the more he knew he had to confront the reality he was so desperately trying to avoid. The moment was coming when he'd have to face not only his fears but everyone's expectations, including his mother's. That he grabbed his phone again, his heart pounding with uncertainty. Would he be strong enough to uncover the courage buried deep inside? The weekend arrived impatiently, the sun shining brighter than ever, as if the world itself was in on the excitement of what was to come. Jake stood in front of the bathroom mirror, his hands running nervously through his hair. The reflection stared back, filled with equal parts hope and anxiety. All right, dude, he muttered to himself. You can do this. With a quick chuckle, he tried to shake off the butterflies fluttering in his stomach. It felt surreal, the whole situation, music spilling from the dimly lit garage where Wyatt had set up a mini stage. He could hear the muffled sound of guitars and laughter. This was his chance to step off the ledge, into the vibrant chaos of sound and creativity. That he grabbed his guitar and stepped outside. The energy of the day wrapped around him like a warm blanket. Wyatt was already there, strumming a tune, tapping his foot with the rhythm. Jake smiled, feeling the tension release a touch just by seeing a friendly face. Hey, man. Perfect timing. Wyatt called as Jake approached. I've been working on this new riff that you're gonna love. Cool, let us hear it. Jake's voice was steadier now, a growing confidence battling the lingering doubts. They jammed for a while, the room filling with a mix of guitar chords and laughter. But every time they shifted to talk about their music, Jake felt the familiar pang of worry gnawing at him. What if his songs didn't resonate? What if it all crumbled? After a few sessions, Wyatt glanced over with an encouraging grin. You know, I think you should go out there and show me what you've got. I know that you can do this, Jakey. Chills raced down Jake's arms. This was it. The moment where he had to lay his heart bare. All right, he breathed, as a wave of anticipation washed over him. Let us give it a try. How about you kick off with that new ballad you've been working on? A knot formed in his stomach. You think it's ready? He replied, searching for any hint of doubt in Wyatt's supportive gaze. Trust me. It's gonna kill. Wyatt said confidently, and even though Jake felt like he might choke on his nerves, he nodded that he took a step back from the group of friends now gathered in the garage. He could see their faces, their expectation, their support. This was more than just practicing, this was a moment. He closed his eyes for a second, drawing in the light around him like oxygen, and the warmth of his mother's belief pushed him forward. With a deep breath, Jake settled himself in front of the mic. The hum of anticipation in the garage was electric. He brushed his fingers across the strings, feeling the smooth wood beneath his hands as he settled into the melody. The first notes rang out, and like magic, the noise of the world faded away. It was just him, his guitar, and the song. Each phrase flowed from his lips, each chord resonating with truth. He poured everything, the uncertainty, the hope, and most importantly, the love for his mom into it. That he opened his eyes to the sight of friends nodding along, laughing at the quirky moments, and an occasional hush as they absorbed the emotion in the lyrics. Just as the final note hovered in the air, applause erupted. A wave of shock washed over Jake, mixing with disbelief. They weren't just being polite, they were genuinely moved. The relief surged through him, filling spaces in his heart he didn't know were empty. Dude, that was amazing. Wyatt exclaimed, clapping him on the back. You've got something special. Jake couldn't help but grin, feeling lighter than air. But there was still that nagging question in the back of his mind. Did they truly get it? Did they feel the weight of the song? As faces shimmered with smiles around him, he couldn't shake the desire for validation beyond just the music. Then silence fell, replaced by excitement, as the others encouraged him to play more. A different kind of fear prickled at him. Were they ready for the raw truth behind his songs? In that moment, Jake realized, this was just the beginning. What he really felt, what he truly wanted to express, was still to come. And while he relished in the thrill of their support, he knew there was a bigger hurdle waiting ahead. Okay, I think I got one more. Jake started, glancing at Wyatt, heart racing once more. But he couldn't help but wonder if his next song would take him deeper, exposing more than he ever intended. Would they be ready for the truth he was about to unleash? As the first chords pulsed through the air, a twinge of uncertainty wrapped around him again. Was he really brave enough to dive into the depths of his heart, or would it be too raw, too real for them to handle? With a shiver of excitement and dread, he began to sing. As Jake's fingers danced across the strings, the melody wrapped around him like a familiar embrace. It wasn't just music, it was catharsis. The first verse poured out, and he felt himself slip into a different zone. The room faded, the laughter, the smiles all replaced by his inner world. This song was unlike the last one. It pulled from his deepest thoughts, from moments he had tucked away under layers of doubt and fear. Memories of his mother, her laughter, her tears, the way she always believed in him even when he didn't believe in himself flooded his mind, and just like that, he was vulnerable. The notes carried his pain, his hopes, and his truth. With each word, Jake fought against the creeping anxiety that gnawed at him. Would they understand? Would they follow him into this emotional territory? It was raw. He could feel the tremor in his voice as he approached the chorus. The nervousness faded, replaced by something powerful. He looked out, catching glimpses of his friend Wyatt's encouraging smile, Nora mouthing the lyrics with her eyes closed, lost in the moment. They were with him that he poured everything he had into the next line, a lyrical confession of loss and longing. The refrain echoed through the garage, and he couldn't stop himself from scanning their faces. Were they cringing? Were they leaning in closer? Were they judging? The song reached its crescendo, an explosion of sound and emotion. Jake lost track of time, every moment stretching like the chords vibrating in the air. When the final note rang out, silence enveloped the room. It was a heavy silence, pregnant with expectation and emotion. His heart raced as he held his breath, waiting for the response. Then, slowly, like a wave built on anticipation, applause erupted. Jake's heart soared, the rawness had found resonance. He felt a rush of warmth, something like freedom. "I didn't know you had that in you," Wyatt shouted, his face a mixture of awe and pride. "Seriously, man, that was, wow," Nora added, her eyes shining with unshed tears. "I felt every word." Jake swallowed hard, the weight of their affirmations settling over him like a soft blanket. But the curious part of him wanted more than just compliments. "Did you really connect with it?" His voice came out softer, tinged with vulnerability. "Dude, you took us there." "It was like I could see your memories," Wyatt said firmly, the confidence in his friend lifting Jake's spirits even higher. Jake felt a swell of gratitude mixed with his longing for something deeper. This wasn't just about music, it felt like therapy to him. He wanted to explore this connection further, to dig even deeper into his experiences, fueled by the warmth of their support. He said, "I've got one last song, it's even more personal." A glance towards the group told him they were ready. He could see it in their eyes, curiosity mixed with excitement. As he positioned his fingers on the strings, he hesitated. What if this one opened up wounds he wasn't ready to share? The fear bubbled again just as excitement battled against his instinct to retreat. Swallowing hard, Jake gathered his thoughts and nodded. "Here goes nothing." The first chord was different this time, a little shaky, but undeniable in its authenticity. He felt the groove building around him, the passion in every heartbeat. But as he looked into their eager faces, one thought nagged at the back of his mind. Would the truth he revealed in this next song change everything? With the world spinning on that axis of vulnerability, he opened his mouth. The first note hung in the air, hesitating for just a second before tumbling out, raw and unfiltered. Jake's heart raced in rhythm with the pulse of the chord. His breath hitched, and he felt the weight of everyone's eyes bearing down on him like a spotlight. That familiar rush of fear crashed against a wave of determination. He couldn't back down now that as he sang the opening lines, the melody flowed through him, flaring up memories that felt both painful and beautiful. He was transported back to his childhood, sitting on the floor of his bedroom, strumming his first guitar. His mother's encouraging words echoed in his mind like a mantra: "You have to tell your story, Jake." He choked a bit on the next line, a surge of emotion catching him off guard. "I promise, I'll always find my way back to you." He could feel the prick of tears threatening to emerge, but he held them back, channeling the energy instead into the music. Wyatt leaned in, eyes wide, and he caught Nora's nodding commitment. They weren't just hearing him, they were feeling him. The song was about more than loss, it was about the profound impact of love, about how those fleeting moments shaped him into who he was. Each line was a brushstroke on the canvas of his memories. "You taught me to dream," he sang, his voice stronger now, the words igniting a fire within him. As the chorus approached, he let the emotion surge. This time, he didn't just sing, he opened up. It was as if he was peeling back layers he had built over the years, revealing the wounds beneath. "And when I feel alone," he belted, "I know I'm never really alone." The room vibrated with energy. Jake stole a quick glance at his friends. Wyatt's expression was intense, fully engaged, while Nora wiped at the corners of her eyes. They weren't just listeners, they were witnesses to his truth. Then came the part that scared him the most. High-pitched notes intertwined with deep, soulful echoes. "I heard you whisper in the dark, guiding me like a spark." His voice cracked slightly, but he pushed through, a wave of vulnerability washing over him. Finally, as he climbed the final hill of the song, he reached for the end, pouring out all he felt. "This journey is ours, Mom, through every scar. In every sound, I feel you near." With the final chord ringing out, Jake let the silence settle over them. He could see it, emotion splashed across every face. It was an electrifying stillness, the moment where everything just paused. Then, like the breaking of a dam, applause erupted. Wyatt jumped up, whooping. "Hell yes! That was epic." Nora wiped her tears with a chuckle. "Jake, that was beautiful. I don't think I can look at my mom the same way again." But amidst the exhilaration, Jake felt an ache. They understood the surface, but did they grasp the depths? "Thank you," he said, his voice both shaky and strong. "But it's not just a song. It's everything." "Everything?" Wyatt questioned, curiosity sparkling in his eyes. Jake's heart thudded at the unspoken invitation posed by his friend. "Yeah, everything," he replied slowly, tapping into the courage that had burst forth before. "About the moments we take for granted, the stories we hold in silence." A tension hung in the air, a realization settling in. It was time to reflect, to share not just the music, but the reasons behind it. But would they be ready to dig deeper? "I'm ready to tell you why I wrote this," Jake finally said, gripping his guitar tighter. "But first, there are some scary truths about my journey I still need to face." What would he reveal in that moment of reckoning? Would his vulnerability reshape their friendship? The thought left him on the brink, ready to leap into unknown territory. And in the silence that followed, the anticipation hung palpably in the air. "Are you sure about this, man?" Wyatt's voice cut through the thick silence, his expression shifting to genuine concern. It was as if he sensed the gravity of what Jake was about to share. Jake nodded, the knot in his stomach tightening. He knew this moment was critical, but the thought of laying himself bare felt terrifying. "Yeah, I mean, I don't know how else to do it. I just can't keep it all inside anymore." Nora shifted closer, sensing the growing tension. "We're here for you," she reassured, her tone steady and warm. "Whatever it is, just say it." He took a deep breath, feeling the weight of their gazes. "Okay, here goes." Jake's voice trembled slightly. "When my mom got sick, things changed. It wasn't just the illness. It was the conversations that followed, the moments when she'd look at me with this mix of love and worry." He paused, trying to find the words to convey the complex feelings that churned within him. "Just before she passed, she made me promise something. She said, 'I need you to live for the both of us, Jake. Find your joy, and don't forget to share it.'" His eyes darted away, the memories overwhelming. A silence settled over them, heavy and contemplative. Jake's heartbeat hammered in his ears as the words hung in the air. He swallowed against the lump in his throat, pushing through. "That's why I'm here. That's why I write. To keep her memory alive, to figure out who I am without her." Wyatt's eyes widened, and Jake could see the dawning realization of just how profound their friendship had become. "Dude, I had no idea." His voice softened. "I thought it was hard for you to express that, you always seem so strong." "But this pretending to be strong was just easier," Jake admitted, his fingers nervously strumming the strings of his guitar. "But it didn't help. I felt like I swallowed all my emotions, thinking that was the way to honor her. But now I realize I need to embrace them, to talk about them." His voice caught again, but he pressed on, sensing encouragement from his friends. "I fell into this cycle of hiding. I didn't want to share my pain, thinking it would just push people away, but keeping it all bottled up nearly swallowed me whole." He let out a shaky breath and glanced at Nora. "I think that's why I wrote the song. Every word was a part of me screaming to be heard." "I can't believe you carried that for so long," Nora said quietly, her gaze unwavering. "You were never alone, you know that?" A flicker of hope ignited within him at her words, and Jake nodded. "I know that now. You guys were there when I felt lost. Maybe I was just too stubborn to see it." Suddenly, Wyatt leaned in closer, a smile breaking the somber mood. "Dude, it's brave to share this. It's what makes you real. We're your friends, and we want to hear it all, the good, the bad. You're not alone anymore." Jake felt warmth spread through him, the fear of vulnerability beginning to soften. "Thanks. I didn't expect to say all that, but it felt good. I guess we all have our own stories." They shared a moment, eyes shining with understanding. But just then, a thought struck him, bringing his courage to a precipice. "What about you guys? What's your story? There's so much I don't know about you. And, I think we need to uncover it together. Everyone carries something. In that instant, the three friends were united in a deeper connection, yet hovering on the edge of another revelation. Jake could see there were layers yet to be unfurled. Would they peel back the rich, painful moments from their pasts and find healing together? The bond they had built felt fragile and profound, and Jake couldn't shake the feeling that this journey was only just beginning. What other truths waited in the corners of their hearts? Was each revelation a key to unlocking not just their own fears but a collective power? As the atmosphere shifted, he knew one thing for certain: they were ready to delve deeper. But what about the shadows they might unearth? Jake's heart raced with anticipation, leaving him eager yet anxious for what lay ahead. Jake shifted in his seat, the adrenaline of sharing his truth still surging through him. He glanced between Wyatt and Nora, searching for a sign that they were ready to open up as well. A rush of uncertainty pulsed in his veins. He had started this journey, but what if it led them to places they weren't prepared to explore? Wyatt hesitated, his fingers nervously playing with a fraying hem of his shirt. "Well, my story isn't exactly light," he finally murmured. "Like, it's not as deep as yours, but it's still there. It leaves marks. That's okay. We're all here," Jake said, leaning forward. "No judgment." Nora reached for Wyatt's hand, squeezing it gently. "Remember, we're not alone in this. Just let it out." Wyatt took a deep breath, his eyes clouding momentarily as memories flickered behind them. "So, my dad, he lost his job a few years back. It hit us hard. We didn't have a lot to begin with, but suddenly everything felt shaky." He bit his lip. He was this hard-working guy, you know. It was like his identity was stripped away. "I think he felt like he failed. I never knew how to help him. I felt like I had to step up, but I didn't know how, man. That's tough," Jake said softly. "It's hard watching someone you love struggle." Wyatt nodded, his brow furrowing. "Exactly. I tried to be the strong one. I just didn't want to add more weight for him. Instead, I held all that worry inside." Nora's gaze turned serious, her voice steady. "And how did that affect you?" "I ended up shutting down. Skipped school sometimes, just hung out at home. Played games. Anything to drown out the chaos. But it made everything worse. I started feeling guilty because I didn't know how to support him." Wyatt wiped a hand across his forehead, as if brushing the weight away. "I thought I was being strong, but really, I was just hiding." In that moment, Jake could see Wyatt's vulnerability crack through the facade he had built, raw and unguarded. It was a revelation that made Jake feel both grateful and heavy-hearted. They were all battling hidden monsters in their own unique ways. Nora responded gently, "It's brave to recognize that, Wyatt. You weren't alone in that space. You didn't fail your dad." As Wyatt pondered her words, another spark ignited in Nora. "My turn?" she asked, her voice steady but laced with emotion. "Absolutely." Jake encouraged, anticipation building. Nora took a steadying breath, her eyes glimmering as she began. "You know I've always been there for everyone, right? But what about when I needed something? My family," she hesitated, collecting her thoughts. "We've always been a bit fractured. My parents are the kind of people who argue more than they talk. And I've often felt like the peacekeeper between them." "God, that has to be so hard," Wyatt murmured, slowly shaking his head. "It is," she sighed, her voice dropping. "But I always felt that they needed me to keep everything together. I learned to ignore my own feelings, always giving, never asking. It started wearing me down, though. I didn't realize how much it hurt until I watched the distance between them grow, and I just felt so powerless." Jake felt the air around them thicken, the raw honesty piercing deeper than any layers they had shed before. He could see how each of them had been carrying wounds, stifled emotions boiling beneath the surface. "So," he said slowly, "what do we do now? We've shared our stories, but we can't just leave it here, right?" Nora's eyes gleamed with determination. "We learn how to lean on each other. We validate our pain but also focus on what comes next." Wyatt was nodding, emotions swirling between them like a charged current. Yeah. We can't keep bottling it up. It's time to unmask more of ourselves. Jake felt a wave of empowerment wash over him. He knew their journeys had just begun. But as he reached for his guitar, a nervous thought crept back in. What if opening up only led to more risks? What other secrets lay dormant, waiting to resurface? Jake strummed lightly, the notes hanging in the air like an unanswered question. Where would this new path lead them all? The atmosphere had shifted, a blend of tension and warmth weaving through the garage as Jake took a deep breath, recalling the weight of his truth. We can't just unburden ourselves without a plan, right? He suggested, glancing at his friends. I mean, it could get rough as we explore what's beneath. We need to support each other through this. Wyatt leaned back against the garage wall, arms crossed, his expression contemplative. Maybe we could set a safe space, where we check in regularly. Just to talk, you know? No judgment. Yeah, I like that idea, Nora said, an encouraging smile emerging. We can help each other navigate our stories, whether it's during our jam sessions or outside. The bond between them felt thicker, stronger, woven together by vulnerability. Jake nodded, feeling warmth seep into his chest. Exactly. Just knowing I can share what weighs on me without fear brings me peace. We can all run this race together. Let us call it our unmasking crew, Wyatt said, his excitement bubbling over. It'll be like our own little support group, but through music. Unmasking crew, Jake repeated, a grin breaking across his face. It felt like reclaiming a part of themselves growing stronger through their shared battles. I'm in. The heaviness lingered, but now it felt lighter, like a castle made of cards suddenly stabilized by a solid foundation. Each of them was still faced with uncertainty, a reminder of the fears that still lurked, but there was comfort in solidarity. They all glanced toward the half-assembled stage in the corner, the flurry of strings and picks becoming a metaphor for their shared commitment to rekindle their dreams and find their voices. Hey, how about we perform our truths? Jake suggested, not just my songs, but our thoughts, our stories, however we want to share them. Wyatt's eyes sparkled with enthusiasm. We could write a song together, combine our narratives into something powerful. It could echo our journey, acknowledge the pain, celebrate the small victories. Like a musical tapestry, Nora mused, excitement growing in her voice. We each contribute a part, our unique stories woven into one. Jake could hardly contain his excitement. This was the evolution he had hoped for. So, let us do it. Let us find the common threads. They grabbed their instruments and settled around the makeshift stage, the room buzzing with renewed energy. Jake strummed the guitar, the familiar rhythm grounding him. Let us start with our experiences, our feelings. We write about the hard stuff, the weight we've been carrying, but also about how we lean on each other. Wyatt laid down a beat, his heart pounding with anticipation. Let us go. I'll sing about stepping into my own light for my dad. Nora followed suit, adding her voice, bold yet vulnerable. I'll talk about breaking free from the chains of expectation, being honest. As they harmonized, emotions spilled into melody. Each lyric reflected not just their struggles, but also the promises they had made to themselves and to one another. They created a pulse within the chords, a heartbeat that echoed their shared experiences. The garage transformed, laughter mingled with tears, the air alive with the sound of their truths. Hours melted away in an exhilarating blur. They wrote and rewrote, crafting lines of honesty and reflection. With every note, they built a bridge born from courage, understanding, and love. As they wrapped up their first rough draft, a surge of warmth enveloped Jake. It wasn't just about the music. They had woven a lifeline for each other, a sanctuary of support where their dreams could flourish despite life's challenges. Once finished, they looked at each other, a knowing glint in their eyes, the thrill of accomplishment mingled with the realization of this powerful connection. Guys, this is just the beginning, Jake said, his heart swelling. We're not just unmasking for ourselves anymore, we're doing it for each other. I genuinely believe something beautiful is rising from us. Yeah. Wyatt shouted, his own passion flaring. Tonight isn't just about music, it's about healing. About reminding us we're never alone. Nora added softly, and even on the toughest days, we remember to share our stories. The day fell into silence, but it was a silence heavy with hope. They defaced their fears, unearthed a potential they didn't fully recognize until that moment. Jake picked up his guitar and strummed a gentle melody. The first notes hung in the air, a breath of tranquility. They weren't the same trio that had walked into the garage hours ago. They had embraced their struggles and differences, and now, hand in hand, were ready for whatever came next. Jake closed his eyes, envisioning his mother, the light of her spirit guiding him forward. He would chase that dream, honoring her memory with every chord, while growing closer to the people who truly mattered along the way. Together, they would face those shadows, and maybe just maybe transform them into light. "Let us do this," he said, voice steady. "For ourselves and for those we love." And with that, they dove into the next song, hearts aligned, voices rising in unison, their journey only just beginning. As the final notes echoed, a feeling surged through them of boldness, connection, and an array of dreams ready to take flight. You need to subscribe now. This is the moment to show your support and join our journey as we unveil exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm, because every click boosts our community. Comment your reactions and feelings about this ending. Share the love. We want to hear from you. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Don't wait not even one more second to spread the inspiration. Only true fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions.